Welcome back, grappling fans. My name's John Evans, and I'll be your host again today for another Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament match. Last week, we did something a little bit different. I brought my friends Pedro and Eddie over, and we did a UFC 149 recap. I posted it here on this YouTube channel. If you didn't get to check it out, should be a link to it right about there. Also, remember, too, there is a downloadable MP3 version of it in the description, so you can download that, put it on your put it on your iPod and listen to it as a podcast. That's kind of the way I listen to it, but a lot of people seem to watch the video, so that's fine too. It got a little bit out of hand. It's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing that we do, but it's also a breakdown. We try to be as technical as possible and also just be ourselves and be, goofy and whatever. Some of the comments were pretty epic, but yeah, we're going to be doing another one anyway. This one's going to be for Vera Shogun, so we will be putting that out next week at some point to recap that fight. Check it out. Today's breakdown, though, is going to be with my friend and once training partner, Felipe, and I'm probably going to butcher his name right now. His full name is Fillipe Preguiça, I believe. So he is amazing. If you don't know who he is, he recently fought in the Copa Podio, which is in Brazil, and he fought Leandro Lo. And that guy, if you haven't seen him, he's amazing. Just to give a little bit of history on Felipe, Felipe won not this past Worlds, but the Worlds before that. He won the purple belt medium heavyweight division, and then he also went through the open weight division and captured gold there as well. So he is such a good competitor. And here he is in the Copa Podio there, and it was a very, very close fight against arguably one of the best black belts in the world. I mean, not even arguably. Leandro Lo, I believe, won the world championship this year at black belt. So it's amazing that Felipe, as a brown belt, can put up a fight against him. I believe the score went to, it was all tied up at the end, and I think ref's decision for Leandro Lo. So Felipe just did a phenomenal job. I personally think he won that match, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. But Felipe is just so good. You've got to check out his fights. He is a great dude. Try to like his Facebook if you do have it. I'll put a link in the description below, so check that one out. But we're going to be doing one of his matches today, and this is going to be the finals of this year's Worlds at brown belt medium heavyweight. So let's get to it. And here it goes. It's already started. I believe Felipe pulled guard, so there should be no points awarded. And he has De La Riva right here. You can see his foot's on the inside. This other foot coming across. I like to put it on the thigh of my opponent to control where his base is, try to make him step backwards. Of course, when you're De La Riva, if you can get your opponent to take a back step, that's always good because you've got a nice quick path to his back. But it looks like his opponent's doing a really good job digging that underhook, and Felipe circles that leg right back in, and he gets into this 3/4 guard position where he can use this knee shield right here, and he's trying to push his opponent away. His opponent has good grip right here on the pants. I like it either on the pants or on the belt, and then you can try to use that low pass. Use this arm to stuff your opponent's bottom leg through, and then you can kind of back step through and get that low pass. It's this position has a lot of pressure, of course, for you, those of you that train. When this person is lower to the ground, and remember it is called a low pass, when you're lower to the ground, your butt's not so high up in the air, it's a lot of pressure on your opponent's legs, and you can tire them out very easily. It's a good position to just sit there and let your weight do the work. And Felipe gets right into what I would call the foot lock position, not because he's holding the foot, but because he has his own foot on his opponent's hip right here. The other foot should be on the inside, in between his opponent's legs, and pinching together. And from here, you can either underhook this leg and go to X guard, or use it as like an X sweep, or you can go to 50-50 guard. But Felipe was using that far leg to be on the spider hook right there, or spider guard. And it looks like, I believe Felipe's pants are probably falling down, so the ref's going to stop him. And this is unfortunate. It's just part of jiu-jitsu, especially with the gi. If you have like a wardrobe malfunction like Felipe's having right now, you got to fix yourself. But these grips are so important here. You might have a grip that could win you the whole match, and for this match, of course, this is the finals of the brown belt medium heavyweight worlds. This is a very important match. If you have a grip that can potentially lead to a sweep, which could potentially lead to you winning because you're winning on points. You don't want to let that go, and anytime there's a disruption in the flow of the fight, then that is possible. So you are responsible for fighting for your own grips. So if you are ever stopped, make sure that the ref sees what grips you have and you make sure that you get them the next time, because if you don't, that can be the difference between winning and losing at a world level. And it's kind of sad, but it's just a necessary part of the sport, because, you know, if your opponent's gi is coming off over his head or his pants are falling down or something, they do have to restart it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, and you kind of want them to too, because then you can get your grips, and that way it doesn't make it X-rated, right? So anyway, it looks like they start him back on the feet, which I'm not sure why they start him back on the feet, because they were in a position, but that's okay. And his opponent pulls guard here, and Felipe tried to backstep over right there to pass. He's doing a good job weighting this foot. He's putting his hips down heavy onto that foot, and his opponent rolls up and under and tries to force Felipe's leg to 50-50 guard. 50-50 guard, this is kind of a controversial position for those of you that don't know, and that's when you are basically in the same position that your opponent is, whether you're on top or bottom, or you're just both kind of on your back. It's when your foot comes over and across to your partner's far hip, and so you can see his opponent also has the same position, and people criticize it because it can be a bit of a stalling position, especially it's very easy to sweep if you're on bottom, so you can sweep your opponent right at the end after stalling out a whole match and be up on points at the end. So people don't like it, but also if there are heel hooks involved, you don't see a lot of people going to 50-50 just because of that. You can get heel hooked very easily. I think Ryan Hall proved that at ADCC. Of course, IBJJF tournaments do not allow heel hooks, which I think a little bit of a bummer, especially with no gi. With the gi, I've heard pros and cons on allowing heel hooks. I know a lot of people used to get their knees blown out back in the day because there's so much friction, it's hard to escape, and then all of a sudden your knee's gone. But it looks like his opponent here is going right on a toe hold. I'm not sure if that is an inverted toe hold, or I can't see the angle yet. But Felipe's doing a good job defending, and he's still stuck in that 50-50. It's one of the bummers about 50-50, especially if you don't have all of the attacks that are available to you. Like, you can't attack a heel hook, you can't attack certain leg locks, especially at a purple belt level. 50-50 becomes very stalling because you can't even toe hold, you can't knee bar, you can't do any kind of like calf crusher, leg lace, anything like that. So, but Felipe defending well. It's just hard to get out of the 50-50 sometimes. But here, he gets his opponent's leg below his own knee, and that's what's going to get you out of 50-50. He gets up to knee on belly, and his opponent goes to turtle to prevent the pass, but that's no good because Felipe is just rolling right to his back here. He has one hook in. Of course, he's not going to get the 4 points or a guard pass until he gets the other foot in, and he should just get the 4 points. I can't see if he has the other hook in. Remember, one hook is 0 points. 2 hooks, 4 points. So it's a big difference. And his opponent keeps rolling. He's kind of rolling out of bounds. I believe they're just going to restart them back in the center. Yeah, they're trying to drag him back in. If you roll out of bounds when you're trying to avoid a submission, I think the new rules indicate that you will get 2 points automatically. But I think if you're just in a position, they'll just drag you back to the center and you're back in that position. And he's still trying to get that hook in. His opponent, of course, doing the right thing, trying to prevent that hook, and he's getting up to turtle, but Felipe doing a good thing and preempting that, getting onto his back and then turning under him before he can turn, and that's what's eventually going to get you that hook in. And Felipe's doing that, but also doing the multifaceted attack by trying to get the choke here, and that gives your opponent more than one thing to think about. And here he's got his foot over the arm, and this is very good for Felipe, and he's able to get both hooks in right there. So if he can hold it for 3 seconds, he should get the 4 points, and it looks like he does. Very nicely done, and now he's just going to be looking for that choke. And I believe he has a bow and arrow because he's coming off to the side here, letting his opponent's torso fall in that gap. He's getting his feet over, and he gets the tap. Bow and arrow or cradle choke. Very, very nicely done. And Felipe wins the Brown Belt World Championship 2012. Good job, Felipe. This guy, and he's such a nice guy, too. If you've ever met him, if you've ever trained with him, you know he really deserves this. He trains his butt off, and he's the nicest guy. And he comes out there, and he does what needs to be done, and he gets the victory. Good job, Felipe. Of course, in the brown belt openweight championship, he pretty much ran through everyone too until the finals, and I believe he lost on points right at the end. So he got second place in the openweight, but that just should not detract from anything that he's done here, because in the medium heavyweight division, he just put on a clinic, went through everyone, even submitting his final opponent. I think he submitted most of his opponents, honestly, but he is such a good competitor. So anyway, I will have a link to his Facebook page, so please like that. It's going to be in the description below. Like I said, if you see him at a tournament or something, tell him John said hi. You can come up to him, and he's such a nice, approachable guy. And watch him compete, definitely, because if he's on the mat, something exciting is happening. So check it out, and until next time, guys, see you later.